right? But then you have these D3 schools that I think in many ways offer incredible academics, but also very competitive rowing and really fit that gap in many ways and essentially where they are incredibly competitive programs, and beating most of the Division One programs. So anyway, talk to me a little bit about just Trinity and Division 3 rowing as a whole, the makeup of it, and then maybe we can dive into a couple of the facts and figures behind these programs are actually pretty competitive. But give me a summary on just in terms of the team itself and your time now in year 3 at as a member of the Division 3 rowing landscape, but shed a little light on Division 3 rowing as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really interesting time for Division 3 men's rowing specifically. Women's rowing has been part of the NCAA now for plenty of time, and they are wildly competitive and it's incredibly challenging. But the D3 men's landscape was so different for such a long period of time. And I think the transition actually happened when I was at Williams. I think the previous year, some coaches in the NESCAC essentially brought a legislation change to that league to say, if we win a qualifying regatta, we want to be able to go to the IRA in the Division 1 event. Because previously the NESCAC did not even allow, so the NIRC is a pretty major qualifying event for a few Division 1 teams. At the time, and all the NESCAC teams go there. That is where the NESCAC championship is. And there's, plenty of times where Trinity was winning that event and Williams was winning that event. Bates won that event in 2018, beating some of these Division 1 teams. And up until 2016, 2017, they would win that. They would essentially earn this bid as a varsity program. I don't believe they were all IRA members at the time because there was no recourse for them to go because the NESCAC legislation did not allow for postseason competition. It did not allow to extend. I don't think they were IRA members, and they actually got the rules changed. So that was kind of step number 1. In 2017, the first year that was possible, none of the NESCAC teams, none of the D3 teams won that bid. In 2018, Bates did. And Bates was, I believe, the first Division 3 program to race at the IRA, at least in its modern iteration. Fast forward to COVID, post-pandemic, trying to make the sport grow and trying to provide competitive opportunities. So that spring 2021 season, where the IRA was an open invitation, anyone could go. And all of these Division 3 teams who were able to have activity, for the most part, went. I know Trinity was represented. I know that Williams was represented. I don't know beyond that. I can't remember. I didn't look at the results today, but I remember those two because I know that Kevin has talked about it, and I remember seeing how well Williams did at that regatta at the time. So I believe 1 year later was the first year that the Division 3 Varsity 8 event was run. So 2022, they have the event. I think it was still 8 competitors. So grand final 6 and then petite final 2. 2023, now all of a sudden we've got Varsity 8 and second Varsity 8. And that is kind of continuing to move forward. And what that's really done, because you think about recruiting and you think about goals, et cetera, to work towards winning a national championship it's an easier sell for any athlete than we want to win the NIRC. Because if you go to the family barbecue on July 4th and you go, "Oh, how did your rowing season go, Jimmy?" I won the NIRC. And they go, "What is that?" And you're like, I don't really know. It was really fast and really competitive, but it's not a name recognition thing. It's an invitational. I won my league. I was like, "Oh, that's great. What about the national championship?" In the past, they couldn't go. But now you can compete. How'd your season go? And for any of the dudes who were in the Wesleyan Varsity 8 this spring, they get to go and they get to say, "We won the national championship." And so I think people understand and recognize that better. And so it for sure changed the mindset of the athletes who were actually on the team. I think that people were like, "Oh, this is different now and this can be faster. And I want to work towards it." And I know that in Division 3 rowing, there's just this plethora outstanding coaches. And again, like these coaches can only really coach as well as the athletes kind of allow you to coach. I think an individual who is completely unmotivated and unwilling to really give their earnest effort, the best coach in the world can't make that individual an Olympic champion or a national champion. Like there does have to be innate, intrinsic desire from the athletes for the coaches to provide their best, the true best. And I know every coach always wants to like rise to the occasion of the athletes, in the same way that the athletes want to rise to the occasion of like the coach. It does need to be a working relationship that's like healthy and back and forth. So the addition of Division III rowing, providing a national championship, provided this opportunity for hundreds of athletes all around the country every single year to have like a very clear set goal that felt serious and felt exciting. The effect it's had on recruiting and the athletes coming in, as well as like the messaging we can deliver, has also changed. I remember recruiting at Williams, and it was like, oh, do you go to the IRA? Said, well, we need to win the NIRC, and then we can go to the IRA. And that was a tall order, and it still is a tall order. The NIRC is a hard regatta to win. MIT goes, Hobart goes, all the NESCACs are there. Like a ton of really fast teams are at the NIRC. It's not a high likelihood. Only one person can win it a year. And when there was only the one bid, because it was for that open Division I category, that's hard. That's not a huge opportunity. It's not a safe bet, if that makes sense. And I think the size and having the Division III event has been huge. And more athletes, first of all, like seeing that this is an option, because like recruits will go on to Row 2K and they want to see the results. They want to follow you on Instagram and be like, oh, you were silver in the second varsity at the 2024 IRA. That is something they understand and they're familiar with if they're following collegiate rowing and very serious about becoming collegiate rowers. So it changed how many people were interested. It changed how serious they are when they start talking, and it changed the manner in which we can communicate. So I talked about communicating when I was at Williams of like, this is what the path is. And it's hard. And, that's it. Like, I love challenges. We got to win the NRC. I was like, sounds good. Like, let's go for it. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. But now knowing we have a category, we're going to be competitive. More people can come in, more people can have this experience. They can race in that regatta, they can see the speed, they can be on the water with the speed, and they can challenge themselves to pursue that goal. More people are excited about it. We get to say, like, we have to do this. And to be very clear, qualifying for the Division III championship is still a tall order. Like, I think the NESCAC has two automatic bids, and then there's a handful of at-large bids. It is not a given at any point with the speed and depth of the league and the speed and the depth of Division III rowing. So there is still a nothing ventured, nothing gained aspect, but it is more tangible and realistic.